Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard. Here it is, Tuesday, 9th day of May.
Wow, we are
zipping right along.
Yeah, this year is going by very quickly.
For real. And for people who wanted to know where the warm weather was, here it is.
Just like that, Bill.
Yeah, just like that. Yep, yes,
it's
sir.
Like going
nice
into a
and
steam
cool,
room.
And all of a sudden, boom, baby.
Yep.
Here it is.
Summer is here.
Sure enough. So welcome aboard. Going to be speaking with our 1st District Congressman Buddy Carter this morning. Or at least he's going to be speaking to us about what the latest is from Washington. As day after tomorrow, we're in for a big surprise.
How exciting, Bill. I can't wait.
Title 42 goes away.
Here's the thing, Bill. We didn't always have Title 42. It's the fact that this president can't get it together, and we're going to be talking a lot more about the border later on in the show, but I totally blame the administration, hands down. I think that there are a lot of people, the Border Patrol doesn't even want to work anymore for this president because they can't do their job. They're basically just processing people and being told to release them into this country. Yeah,
and they're nothing more than babysitters as much as anything else, and they're trying to do their job, but they can't. But they're getting 1,500 National Guardsmen down there, which is a spit in the ocean. For what they need, for one thing, and number two, the president made it very clear. Said, "Oh no, they won't be having any police responsibilities. That's going to be left up to the border guards. So these guys are just down there to do paperwork." Mm-hmm. Oh, please, give me a break.
Well, that's what we train military forces for, is for paperwork. Absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A waste of resources.
Well, that's what Democrats think the military is. I think it's a Meals on Wheels program. We learned that from all the way back to Bill Clinton, and it's gone forward ever since. Anytime a Democrat is in office, they think that the military is for their own aggrandizement and to just deliver food or something like that, and just to help people. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's to defend this country.
Well, it's being made a mockery of. We played earlier last week the military now hiring drag queens to do their recruitment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thank you for whoever the Secretary of the Navy is, or ever approved that of the CNO, the Commander of the Naval Operations. A pox on both your houses.
Well, I'm seeing more drag queens come out that are, doing, that are in the military that are now doing drag for advertising. So it's not just the one; they have multiple, which is exciting.
They probably need that to make a living. Because what the paltry pittance they're paying our soldiers now is just disgusting. And when they have to go on food stamps and everything else in order to survive,
absolutely ridiculous.
It really is. When we've got all these billions of dollars that we can send over to Ukraine, seems like nothing's too good for them. And this is another dangerous part of this, Brittany, is the fact that we don't have the ammunition supplies that we used to have. Glenn Beck reported a couple of weeks ago from the Blaze that said if we were to go to war right now, we might have enough weapons and ammunition for 5 days.
Wow, good thing we sent it all to Ukraine, huh?
Yeah, mm-hmm. So maybe we'll be calling Ukrainians over here to help defend us. They owe us anyway.
Yeah, well, I doubt that. I did see a meeting with Zelensky and BlackRock this past week, so that's exciting and fun too. Why would they be over there? Amazing. I think that they're going to help rebuild Ukraine after this war. So
yes, Saria, make sure that they are diversified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money laundering going on. That's all I know.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, somebody said that one of the persons what we're doing is sending money over to Ukraine and then having it laundered back over to us. So it's just one of those big revolving doors.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's a total scheme.
We've got no accountability from what's going on over there, but it seems like nothing's too good for them. All of a sudden, get tanks, but they won't give them what they actually needed more than anything else is the fighter jets. I think they're getting a few, but if you want to end this war, get them the fighter jets and also open our spigots. so that Russia is not making all this money to pay their military because they're selling oil to everybody. Have them buy our oil. Start selling our oil. Russia's money supply would start drying up, and the war could come to an end.
Well, we both know that our president does not want that because at the end of the day, Bill, this is intentional. They have never come to the floor of the Congress and said, we're at war, we're putting troops on the ground, when we all know, because leaks came out, that there are troops on the ground in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. That should not happen. They have to be accountable to the American people, and they are not. This is a huge problem. I'm looking forward to, I talked to someone last night, and they were telling me, if this document comes out about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden on Wednesday, he's going to be done. He's going to have to resign. And I just looked at them and I said, you're funny. They have a D next to their name. Nothing is going to happen. They're not going to be held accountable. So we need to learn to fight back, and we need to learn to fight dirty.
When was have you heard a single Republican say anything about impeachment?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay. Well, good for her. But she's about the only one, and that's all we heard from Democrats for 4 years when Donald Trump was in office.
Well, we don't have the votes, and they know it.
And the walls are moving in.
Well, that's the thing. We have no power in the Senate because Georgians sat on their butts and did not elect another Republican. Yeah. So, and Pennsylvania is also to blame.
You can cut off your nose to spite your face, but yeah. And what have we heard from Fetterman lately? We got his body double somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They've wheeled him back out, and he's still doddering in the Senate.
Kind of like
and
the
here's
president.
The thing. I don't fault him, but I do fault his wife. I do think it's very cruel to do this to a human being. He has health conditions, and people are like, you're being mean. Like, we shouldn't discriminate. He makes decisions that are very important for this country. There is no reason he should be in office. And it's not personal. This is business. This is our country. There's no such thing as, we have to let everyone play. No, we need the best people to be in those seats. End of story.
Without a doubt. And this is it's elder abuse as much as anything else, just like with Jill Biden. Dr. Joe Biden, who's not a doctor. This guy has no business being president of the United States, and our adversaries know it, and our friends know it. And the Republicans seem to know it, but we're not doing anything about it.
Well, here's the other thing. How come Biden didn't go to the ceremony overseas this weekend?
Yeah.
And why was Jill Biden clear in the back? Did they put her any further? Do you think if Trump was president or Melania went over there, that they would be sitting in the back?
I wouldn't think so, no.
I don't think so either, at all. People don't respect us. We're losing our footing on the national stage, and it's intentional. There's no way that this is an accident.
It is all part of the plan to destroy America, and you have to wonder why.
Yes, and we're going to get into a couple more things, but Kemp was here. He signed a bill to at least help try and save our county from the DA that we have.
Exactly. So Governor Kemp here on a Friday, and he wanted to make sure that DAs are beginning to do their job, because we have a Soros-financed DA here who is not doing hers, who thinks that she is not here to protect the victims of crime. I don't know what she thinks she's for, but apparently enforcing laws from the Democrats. You can see it now in this hideous display that's going on in New York City right now. But WTOC over the weekend had this story about the signing of the bill, and also a little bit of the background on the DA that we have.
A bill that creates an oversight commission for district attorneys across the state.
WTOC's Camille Syed was at that bill signing just a little while ago. She joins us now live from the Chatham County Sheriff's Office with a look at what's included in it.
Mike Don, Governor Brian Kemp says the bill will create an 8-member prosecuting attorneys qualification commission. Now, he says it's needed because he's tired of seeing criminals let off the hook and back on the streets by some prosecutors. Now, several district attorneys across the state, legislators, Sheriff John Wilcher joined the governor here at the Chatham County Sheriff's Office for the signing of the bill. Governor Kemp says the DA Oversight Commission will be be similar to the Judicial Qualifications Commission, which investigates ethical misconduct by Georgia judges. He says if DAs don't perform their duties correctly according to the commission, a recall election can take place. The bill had equal amounts of support and pushback from lawmakers. His support for this legislation comes from concerns of resignations and plea deals for killers and sexual predators in district attorneys' offices.
People are just finally fed up with local prosecutors that simply are not doing their job. And we know that firsthand when you have, sexual predators that are getting off scot-free simply because a simple procedure or date is not followed in a judicial proceeding. Those kind of things are outrageous to the local communities and to parents like us.
Now, I spoke to a family who was here at the signing of the bill and said that they are in full support. They actually lost their son to senseless gun violence not long ago. I'll have their story on the news at 11. Reporting live from Chatham County Sheriff's Office, Camille Syed, WTOC News.
Well, local State Representative Jesse Petrie was a co-sponsor of the legislation aimed at holding district attorneys accountable. Petrie says he joined those efforts after a WTOC investigation last year found the Chatham County DA's office was cutting deals with convicted killers to release them from jail on probation. You can see Petrie in this video at the sheriff's office as Governor Kemp signs that legislation, the commission oversight bill, into law.
Now, WTOC's Max Deeknight sat down with Petrie today. And Max, what did the lawmaker have to say?
Hey, Mike, Petrie says this is all about holding powerful DAs accountable and making sure that victims and their families get the justice they deserve. Representative Jesse Petrie of Savannah says Georgia's first Prosecuting Attorneys Qualifications Commission will hold powerful DAs accountable when they don't follow the law. Petrie has been an outspoken critic of Chatham County District Attorney Shalina Cook-Jones and other progressive DAs.
I think it's a powerful statement that the governor chose Savannah to be the site to sign this bill. And we've got a multitude of jurisdictions, unfortunately, that have suffered. The community has suffered with so-called progressive DAs who are, simply incompetent DAs.
The 8-member group appointed by state lawmakers will now have the power to discipline and even remove elected DAs. Petrie questions anyone who opposes the new oversight.
It makes you wonder why those that don't want this, what do they have to hide? Why are they afraid of reasonable oversight that almost every professional person in our society has? Whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or anything else, almost everyone has some kind of oversight, and one would think that they would welcome that.
Petrie has a message for Chatham County DA Shalina Cook-Jones in particular.
Your job is to protect this community by holding criminals accountable for their crimes. Please just do your job.
And I did reach out to the Chatham County District Attorney's Office for comment. They did not get back to us in time for air with a statement, though. Dawn, Mike, back to you.
I am so shocked the DA did not respond.
That they didn't respond to the story, and probably will not. So good on WTOC for doing that. That story, Max Deeknight does a great job on investigative reporting. Meanwhile, we're going to hear from our 1st District Congressman about what's going on at the border coming up
when we get back.
That's next.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common. Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad you're aboard this morning on this Tuesday, 9th day of May. We have 74 degrees outside already.
Yes, it's going to be a warm one, so probably could wear a dress or some shorts.
So for those who are wondering where the warm weather was, here it is. Hope you're happy.
Yes, and our friend Lizzie Warren is with us this morning, and she says Shalina's husband or ex has a 6-figure job with SCCPSS, which is the school system here.
Yeah, Savannah Chatham County Public Schools. Why? What does he do?
Yeah, very curious. And then Shalina thinks her job is emptying the jails and border. What border? We no longer have a border. I don't disagree with you, Lizzie.
Border? We don't need no stinking border.
Apparently not with this administration.
Nope, sure enough.
Their goal is to change the dynamic of the country permanently by bringing in millions and millions of
Democrat voters.
People. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It'll be interesting. So Europe actually went and they are doing voter ID now. Did you hear that? So quite interesting how
they're racist?
Apparently so. Oh. Some European guy was crying about it. I saw a video of it yesterday and it was kind of ridiculous and sad. But anyways, here we're fighting this border influx, and I will say I am very critical of Governor Abbott. I think that there's more he could have done. I think there's more he could still do. And I think he should be aggressive. And it's like, if you guys aren't going to enforce the border, we will. And then come after us. Go for it. Try me. I don't know why we aren't more defensive and aggressive, but it's not something Republicans are good with, but they need to get comfortable with it.
You're even the governor of Arizona is a bit concerned about it now.
That's
Title
news to
42
me.
Going away. Yeah.
Well, I believe she works with cartels, but Katie Hobbs is something else.
She apparently is seeing getting a dose of reality or something, because this is, you think it's bad now. Wait till 42 goes away in 2 days, unless we do something about it.
Yep, and our Congressman Buddy Carter is very concerned about the border as well.
Sure is.
Welcome to this week's edition of Buddy's Briefings. We're coming to you this week from the conference room in our Savannah District Office. As you know, we've got 2 offices, one in Savannah and one in Brunswick, and we stand ready to help you. I wanted to talk this week about some upcoming legislation this week. H.R. 2, the Secure the Border Act of 2023. Remember, I told you that the majority party gets the first 10 bill numbers, and they represent the priorities of the party. We've already passed H.R. 1, which is the lower energy cost bill. We've already passed H.R. 5, which is the Parents' Bill of Rights. Now we're taking up H.R. 2, the Secure the Border Act of 2023. All of you know what's going on at that border, in the southwest border. You know that we've got illegal immigrants coming across, that we've got fentanyl and illegal drugs coming across that border, killing 200 people every day, 200 Americans. We've got to secure that border, and that's what H.R. 2 will do. It will secure our border. It will increase the number of Customs and Border Patrol agents. It'll start the construction of the wall again. It'll end the catch and release policy. It'll keep this president in check. We need to secure that border, and that's what we're going to do with this. We ran on our commitment to America to make a nation that's strong, an economy that's strong, a nation that's safe, a future built on freedom, and a government that's accountable. This is going to keep our government accountable. This is going to secure our border. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining
me.
So, Bill, for me...
So you live in a dream world?
Well, not only that... We already have, it's illegal to cross the border. End of story. I don't understand what's so hard about this. This is the problem with all the politicians, and I'm not blaming Buddy Carter here, but part of it is, why do we always have to pass more legislation to uphold the laws we already have in this country?
We had a couple of mass shootings last week, and once again they're coming after the blood hasn't quit flowing before the protesters are out there for more gun laws, like another gun. Why don't we enforce the laws that we have now? And why don't we do more on the mental? I finally heard somebody somewhere say something about the mental institutions, or what we do with mental health. And I said, well, hallelujah, at least somebody's getting the message.
Well, here's the other thing. So with the mass shooting that happened at the mall in Allen, Texas this weekend, it's interesting that we still have not seen the manifesto from the Nashville shooting. However, within 24 hours, this person is already labeled as a neo-Nazi white supremacist. Yeah. However, he is Hispanic and is from a Hispanic gang. The information that they got was from a Russian website that has no followers and had these pictures posted.
So it's Russian collusion?
Apparently, I mean, I don't know how you can have someone put out all this information, but yet on the other side of it, we can't get information from the Nashville shooting, which happened almost a month ago.
6 weeks.
Wow. It's crazy that it's been that long.
Yeah.
But then 24 hours, we know that this guy is a neo-Nazi white supremacist Hispanic guy from Mexico who has a rap sheet that's quite long, from what I understand. So, and he has tattoos, like gang tattoos. So
once again, what exactly are we doing when we don't? How many more times are we going to have to see this movie about? Oh, the police knew this guy, multiple arrests, so on and so forth. Just like this cretin in New York that got killed on the subway. I'm sorry he died, but the Marine didn't kill him. It wasn't murder. And these people, these sub-morons that are out there protesting and disturbing other people's lives, finally somebody of the 27 people that have been killed on the subway in the last year and a half in New York, finally one of the deaths means something to them. They're finally going to do something about it.
Well, here's the thing, Bill. This is one thing that the left and the right should agree upon. The system failed this person.
Exactly.
The system failed, and it is failing the community in New York. You cannot continue to have people living in fear and expect stuff like this to not happen. I am sorry that he died. However, there's rumors that he was held for 15 minutes in a chokehold, all this crazy stuff. The video comes out. It was 3 minutes. However, he was putting him in a safety recovery position because he had no intention of killing this person. But this person was acting erratically, and it had a lot of people in fear.
And he had a lot of people that were helping him. And once again, the networks did a great job of augmenting the video so that you didn't see the black guy that came over to help him. You'd have thought they'd learned their lesson from, from the Trayvon Martin situation, but apparently not. But they tried to block that out so that you wouldn't see a black guy coming to the rescue and helping out the Marine who took this guy down. But it is the Derek Chauvin situation. They're trying to equate it with that. And once again, Derek Chauvin is doing a lot of time for something he really didn't do.
Well, and I think the other thing, we need to look at what toxicology. Was there something in his system? Very, very likely these days. And number two, Bill, unfortunately, there are consequences for people's actions. And I feel bad because this guy was mentally ill. I believe, from what I understand, when he was young, his mother was found killed and she was put in a suitcase, something very, very brutal, maybe impacted this person their entire life. But at the end of the day, the family's now speaking out, but it's like, where have you been we have record of this guy for the last 10 years, 40 arrests. Where has the family been to try and help this person? But I think that they are probably going to sue someone, and they're probably going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, they've already said that there were all sorts of protests. I've heard the ambulance chaser that's representing them saying about how this guy should be charged with murder. And
is this Crump?
Yeah. No, this isn't Crump. This is somebody else. This is another ambulance chaser. Okay. But nevertheless, it's from the same same cut from the same cloth, and it is just disgusting what we're having to go through. That this guy ought to be a national. Should be given a medal for what he did, and the people on that train were probably extremely happy Yet we've got these protesters who don't have anything better to do. When other people they were blocking people from going to work, because apparently they don't have to go to work. There was one video that I saw, Brittany, that was just unbelievable. Some girl in this like chartreuse shirt, and she kind of looked like a parrot who didn't quite make it out of the egg or something. And she's standing there looking at this black cop saying, "You shoot black people. You shoot black people." That's all she could say. Apparently, that was her only vocabulary. And they're screaming at the police. Some people they're jumping down on the track. It would have been a shame if they'd gotten run over. One guy actually jumped on the third rail. It's amazing he didn't get fried. But nevertheless, should have been a smorgasbord for the rats in the subway yesterday. But these people are blocking folks from actually going to work, and they're doing all these sorts of protests from this guy who was a genuine hero and also is serving this country in the Marine Corps. And it's just disgusting. And the news media, of course, is calling him a former Marine because they don't know what they're talking about. And this is a narrative that they want. And this is the fuel that they continue to fire, and it's the fire they continue to fuel. Let me put it that way. And this yellow journalism that we're getting from MSNBC, where they're saying that Republicans, because are continuing are now the party of terrorism, and Republicans are terrorists. It is just pathetic. Why corporate America is continuing to allow this and continuing to sponsor these programs. And I've never been in favor of censoring or trying to get somebody else's job or take them off the air. But MSNBC is a disgrace, absolute disgrace. And these people are dangerous, painting the airwaves bright yellow with this nonsense and this crap without just giving this guy a trial. And when you have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who comes out and also makes statements before any trial is being done, and then you have, of course, the Reverend Al Sharpton, paid for, who makes millions of dollars from MSNBC. And other venues that and other streams of income that this lying sack of crap has. Maybe you can bring Tawana Brawley in to help out with the investigation.
Well, and the big thing, Bill, is I think we've regressed a lot in this country. And one of the issues that I have is I'm sick of talking about it being black-white. It's not a black-white issue. Mental health impacts everyone. Crime impacts everyone. And at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter the color of the skin that people are impacted. That's what we should care about. And well,
when they're not white, they make them up. We get a new kind of race. It's like in the Trayvon Martin situation. The guy who killed him was listed as a white Hispanic, something we'd never heard before.
The guy that just killed all those people in Texas was listed as white. He's not white, and they're painting a narrative, and people need to wake up. And in reality, we don't hate each other as much as they try to make it. We're seeing these videos being amplified by these Antifa, Black Lives Matter gangsters that are continuing to make people think that we're way more divided than we are. And we shouldn't care what portion of the population is impacted. Every segment of the population has a poor population. Every segment of the population has a rich population. And guess what? Poor people are more impacted by the crime. They're more impacted on the subways because they don't have cars. And people deserve to feel safe in their environment. And New York has failed these people. That's the end of it. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why we're not focusing on that instead of focusing on hating each other.
Yeah. Well, in New York, of course, you have a situation where at least once upon a time you had such a great mass transit system. Practically nobody in New York owned a car because it was so easy to get around either by the bus or by the subway. There was something going somewhere where you wanted to go. So it is just pathetic. You want to be safe on the subway, and people are not. They've had that took 27 in the last year and a half. We've had 27 murders on the subways. Before that, to get to that number, you have to go back 15 years to get to 28. And we've had at 15 years, 28, and in the last year and a half, 27. You do the math.
It's not good, Bill. It is not good.
It's disgusting. But they could have. But they've taken $1 billion. This is the failure of the Democrat system, where they've taken $1 billion out of the police department and put it into these social worker programs or something. And these people come along, and the perp doesn't want to see them, and they're not armed. It's just pathetic.
Yep. And before we go to break, Lizzie brings up a good point. The shooting in Atlanta has disappeared from the news. Mm-hmm. Very interesting point, Lizzie.
Yeah, it sure is. Because why, you think?
Doesn't fit the narrative. Why. Yep.
Yeah.
When we get back, we're going to be talking about childism. Have you ever heard of that?
Who?
Childism.
Childism?
Yes. What is it? When we get back.
I can't wait. At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us, because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Tuesday, 9th day of May already.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And, we're going to jump right into childism.
Well, I can't wait to find out what this is.
Well, we have a teacher that's here to explain it to us.
Okay, good. Can't wait to hear.
Do you know about childism? This term hasn't trended yet, and people aren't talking about this. I think it's totally valid. Childism is the idea of, sexism, racism, discrimination against your sex, discrimination against your race. Well, childism is discrimination because you're a child. Like, for example, if a student were to come up to me and say, "Hey, Desi, I'm non-binary, can you call me they?" And I told that student, "Oh, honey, you're way too young to know your gender identity." This would not only be transphobic, this would also be considered childism. Not only am I not respecting their pronouns, I would also be discriminating against them because of their age. I'm saying they are too young to know what their gender identity is. But you can do this in other ways too. If you don't respect children's opinion, which are completely valid, that's a form of childism. Well, enough credit, because it happens all the time. Just like ageism is a thing, we are discriminating against old people, childism is a thing too. Children need more of a voice in my opinion. So I'm a teacher. This helps. Do you know about...
Aren't you excited that she's teaching children?
Yeah, sure want to see if we can get her here in the Chatham County school system.
Yeah, we need another one of those.
Ooh, we sure do.
Yeah,
What? You're just being discriminated against because you're a child.
Yes. So, I think this goes along with what we talked about yesterday, where California is saying, like, if a child willingly has sex with an adult, totally fine. No
Not a
age
problem.
limit. They're consenting. What difference does it make?
Sure.
These people are sick and twisted. And, I hope that we open our eyes to the fact that these people are trying to corrupt our kids. This is where it all starts, and this is where it will end for these children and for our future.
Kids don't even know gender identity is not part of their mantra at that age. They don't know anything about it. My grandson mentioned something to me just a few weeks ago where he said something about he'd heard about sex. He said, but I'm really not sure what that is, and he's 10 years old. So,
that's the way it should be.
Exactly, that's the way it should be. And so I didn't go into a further discussion with him or ask him what he thought what his gender identity was. He knows what it is, and so does his younger brother. And it's just disgusting what we're having to put up with from these cretins who are destroying our children. And this is pure communism. This is exactly what Lenin taught when he said, you give me your children. He said, you don't have to worry about you. It's your kids we're going after. Hitler said the same thing. That's where you had the Hitler Youth, the Nazi kids who were turning their parents in for not towing the party line and getting their parents killed or sent off to concentration camps.
Yeah, and if your kids are in school, grandkids are in school, make sure you're fighting the school system or get them out of the school immediately, because
find out what they're learning. Look at their books. What are they being taught? Give them a little history lesson every once in a while.
Well, or play some PragerU videos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
a lot of content out there.
Yeah. PragerU videos are fantastic. Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, his daughter is now the governor there.
Wonderful governor.
Yes, she is. And it is, in fact, she gave the best presidential response to a presidential address, the quote, loyal opposition type thing, that's gotten the most response of ever. And so, good on her. But the fact is that these people are destroying our children. They're in our school system. They need to get out, or we need to get rid of the public school system. I'm not sure it can be saved.
Yep. And it's a toss-up, and I know it's really hard for people to pull their kids out of school because we've also been in a society where school has allowed parents to work instead of staying home with their kids. And, the pandemic highlighted that in a two-parent household that work, when the schools are not in session, it makes it very difficult for those parents.
You can still have, but there's nothing in the Constitution that says we have to have a public school system.
You're correct.
And we could go back to private education and say, well, how are they going to pay for it? You get the money back. You don't have to pay the taxes for a school system. You have the money for the private school. Voila.
Well, and when you go back to something like that, it's more community-based as well.
Exactly.
And I think that that's more important. The community should have more of a say of what's going on, and we should be more in tune with what's going on in our government, what's going on in schools. We should be connected to our children. Yep.
You could have school choice all of a sudden.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we continue to fight this battle about male and female and all the other different genders. We showed you the kid last week who I wish would be, I think they could lower the Congress eligibility to 12. So this kid from Massachusetts who said that he was extremely ticked off because he had a shirt that said there are only two genders, and he gets pulled aside and told to take that shirt off. He refused. He said they told him he wasn't in trouble, but he said, I felt like I was. And he said there were some children who were saying that they felt they were being threatened. You're being threatened because somebody's wearing a T-shirt that says there are only two genders?
Absolutely ridiculous.
This is what it's come to. This is like the same people at Emory University. I remember when Donald, during the 2016 election, when some guy wrote on chalk on the sidewalk, Trump 2016, and they went to the dean of students and wanted to get that student, whoever they're thrown out, because they felt threatened, that they were appalled and insulted. You're not running a kindergarten, for God's sakes. You're running a university. And this is Emory, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, and I think that someone that is doing a lot of big things in the women's world is Riley Gaines. She is very brave. She's been attacked multiple times, and she's still standing up for women's rights in sports.
But she said that that she does see a light at the end of the tunnel. They are making progress.
My name is Riley Gaines. This past year I recently graduated from the University of Kentucky, where I was on the women's swim and dive team all 4 years of my collegiate career. I think this will get worse before it gets better. It's a matter of how many girls have to be injured playing against a male, how many girls have to lose out on scholarships and trophies and titles, how many girls have to feel violated in the locker room. How many girls have to go through this before they make changes? Because the argument we're seeing now is, oh, it's not really happening. Or, you know, it's high school, middle school sports. It's not that deep. It doesn't have to be that competitive. Those are the arguments we're seeing. And both of those are insensitive and untrue. To say it's not happening is you're simply ignoring the problem, because it is happening. I could list off 100 examples right now of women losing out on opportunities. So I believe it will get worse before it gets better, unfortunately, unless we have more women willing to boycott. We have girls who the whistle blows and they don't run, they don't swim, they stand up on the block and they don't go. It's unfortunate, of course, to ask women to make that sacrifice, because these are their sports. They should be entitled to playing. They shouldn't have to give up anything to want changes and to get changes. I think people are really beginning to get fed up with this. I think initially, maybe 2 years ago, maybe we thought we could coexist and this could be something that we could allow trans women into our spaces because we could be inclusive. This would be something that worked. But now we're seeing, of course, that doesn't work. We're seeing this, again, being one-sided. We're seeing males infiltrate into women's sports and spaces and win and take away opportunities from women, and we're not seeing that the other way around. And so I think people are beginning to realize this. I think the tides are beginning to turn. I'm hopeful that more coaches will be outspoken, more parents. We need parents to defend their daughters and sons. More athletes will be willing to say how they feel. We need athletic directors, we need medical professionals to speak up and address the science behind it, how male puberty affects the body and the differences that it allows men to have in comparison to women. To say this isn't existing is to deny the facts in front of our faces. This is happening at all levels, all states, all sports, all ages. My experience is becoming less and less unique by the day. And when I say my experience, I mean competing against a mediocre male who beat every female in the country and the nation by seconds. How can we say that this is fair? How can we say this is right? How can we put women in this position to where they're losing out and there's nothing they can do about it? Obviously, this issue has become somewhat of a political issue, which is unfortunate because sports should never be political, but it was inevitable it would go this way. But people all across the political spectrum are realizing this is specifically harmful. This whole gender ideology propaganda movement is specifically harmful to women and children. And I think they're starting to get fed up. They're starting to use their voice more. It's of course scary to step on toes and ruffle feathers, but that's exactly what we need in order to make changes. But let's say 5-10 years, if this isn't fixed, one male winning a national title among the women will quickly turn into 3 and 5 and 10 and so on. And so that's why it's crucial we make changes. But again, I'm hopeful, I really am, that tides will start to turn, and parents, women, coaches, they'll stand up to this because they'll quickly realize this is something that's harmful to women.
Mm-hmm.
She's an incredible human being.
She really is.
So young and just willing to, I mean, I'm sure it's been pretty lonely there for a while. I think that more women are coming up. And
yeah, they're finally, beginning to see the light and crack through the glass ceiling, as it were, because maybe they're seeing that the other things that are being done to her and the attacks that have been going on. And sooner or later, you have to either have to stand up or get trampled.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's been happening in every sport, including skateboarding. Skateboarding's been a huge one, too, because of the way that males and females are built. Wider hips change the way you're able to, do things on a skateboard. And men, they're built for it. Yes. So kind of interesting, but there's been a female in that sport that has been speaking out as well, because she's lost out on a lot of money because she can't win her championships and things like that because of the men competing as women.
Yep, for sure. Happening in cycling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think there's a sport it's not touching right now.
Exactly.
And it's very dangerous for women. Mm-hmm. You cannot compete with a man, and the force that a man has can really hurt a female.
Well, yeah, we had that incident where the girl in volleyball that had to have surgery because she got, when the guy spiked the ball right into her face, she was severely injured.
Yep. And it's interesting you don't hear the mainstream talking about any of that.
No,
so,
not a bit.
Very disappointing, but, this is where we're at. So
once again, corporate America, you better wake up. And you better come back to the values of this country and the values that actually allowed you to exist in the first place.
Yep. Gaines is very brave, is what our friend Lizzie Warren says. And maybe the U.S. women's soccer team will start winning again if they let the guys play.
Yeah. There you
Fair
go.
Enough. Fair enough. Is her name Rapinoe?
Yes, sir. Yeah, for sure. Coming up next.
Why do we hate conservatives?
Yeah. Let's find out.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding? Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And once again, PragerU to the rescue.
Yes, and I think it's important that we also figure out why people hate conservatives so much.
Yeah, well, they've narrowed it down for us.
Why do you hate conservatives? Well, let's not say hate. Let's say dislike, because you don't really hate anyone. You may dislike them because they want to ban abortion. Conservatives say they're all for freedom, but when it comes to a woman's freedom to choose what she wants to do with her own body, they sing a different tune. You may dislike them because they oppress people of color and deny the fact that America is systemically racist. Conservatives say that everybody is equal regardless of race, and that racism has little to no effect on the daily lives of people of color. So, they just ignore the issue altogether. You may dislike them because they don't believe in climate change. Scientists keep telling us we're overheating the planet, and conservatives don't seem to care. They're more concerned about profits than people. But what good is money if you have no planet to spend it on? You may dislike them because they're obsessed with guns. How are we ever going to stop gun violence if we don't get guns off the streets? And how are we ever going to get guns off the streets if conservatives block every common sense gun law? You may dislike them because they're so intolerant. What's the harm of calling somebody by their preferred pronouns? Why can't conservatives just show some compassion instead of obsessing over every kind of behavior they don't like? You may dislike them because if they got their way, they'd get rid of democracy and establish an authoritarian theocracy. Bye-bye separation of church and state. Hello, fascism. After all that, you might sum up conservatives with one word. Ugh. If any of this resonates with you, I get it. I've been there. But, and this surprised me, I found they actually have reasons for thinking the way they do. Here are some of them. On abortion. To start, we can agree that no one likes abortion. But there is a clear divide on the issue. Progressives focus their attention on the mother. Conservatives, while they have compassion for the mother, focus their attention on the baby. They see a human being growing in a mother's womb as innocent and vulnerable. Those babies deserve to be protected, since they obviously can't protect themselves. On racism, conservatives don't deny that racist people exist, but when it comes to the narrative of systemic racism, conservatives are unconvinced. Of course, there are disparities in this country, but why assume that these disparities are because of racism? Good schools, good parents, good habits, and good communities would go much further toward alleviating poverty and expanding opportunity than a lifetime of racial justice movements. By the way, these rules apply to everyone, regardless of skin color. On climate change, conservatives have very little faith in computer models that have been inaccurately predicting disaster for nearly half a century. Conservatives have a lot of faith, however, in human ingenuity to overcome climate. What is air conditioning but a human adaptation to the environment? See Miami or Phoenix for further reference. This is not to say we should simply do nothing. Nuclear power, for example, holds so much promise as a renewable and safe energy source. Conservatives don't understand why environmentalists oppose it. It makes them skeptical and suspicious that the real agenda behind the environmentalist movement is not saving the planet, but giving more power to the government to control people's lives. On guns, we all want to live in a safe society. This is why firearms are regulated in every state. But we know bad guys will always find a way to get guns. See Chicago and Baltimore for further reference. That's why conservatives want guns, to protect themselves from the bad guys. It's not much more complicated than that. On tolerance, conservatives see tolerance as a two-way street. If someone demands to be addressed by certain pronouns and considers it intolerant if you don't comply, conservatives wonder why that isn't intolerant. Why are a conservative's moral or religious beliefs less worthy of respect than anyone else's? On authoritarianism, whenever conservatives win political power, they're typically trying to cut taxes and regulations, make the government smaller, and bolster constitutional freedoms like that of speech and religion. That doesn't sound very authoritarian, does it? Progressive policy almost always raises taxes, expands regulations, increases the size of government, and now curtails free speech. To a conservative, that sounds authoritarian. Well, now that you've heard a few of their arguments, do you dislike conservatives less than you did before? Not even a little? I'm Amla Epinobi, host of Unapologetic at PragerU.com for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
She's actually a really incredible human being, raised by a leftist activist.
Yeah, and she was for a while, and Prager showed her the light, and she's been a beacon of light ever since on the conservative movement. And we certainly need a Candace Owens, among others that come along, and Charlie Kirk, but he's a Fox News commentator. But who am I thinking about?
I'm not sure.
What? You turn around.
I am drawing a blank as well, Bill. I'm not sure.
All right. It does Turning Point USA.
That is Charlie Kirk.
Okay, is that Charlie Kirk?
It is Charlie Kirk.
All right. No,
that's his organization.
I've got another. I've got him confused with another person on Fox. So,
yeah, Charlie Kirk has been great, and he's doing a lot of things on college campuses. And I do know that they are. I think that they're going to get involved in some of the election stuff, from what I understand. So I'm waiting to hear more about that. But I think Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona are going to be the 3 states they're looking at. So it'll be interesting the next 2 years, Bill.
Yeah, for sure. And it starts now.
Well,
we've got to spool this up in a hurry.
Yeah, and I think that as conservatives, we need to be talking to our friends, and we need to make sure that they're going to go vote, because it's all a numbers game, Bill. It's all about turnout. We only have about 12% of the population that actually votes. Isn't that scary?
It is. And when you consider the fact that that we take this for granted, and we don't teach civics anymore, and the importance of this in schools, when you think of the fact that when the South Africans were first given the right to vote, when all of South Africa was given the right to vote, even after the communist takeover, they stood in line for days. These people in the Middle East, when we were over in Iran and Afghanistan, when they had the right to vote for the first time and get that purple thumb, then. And that's a good idea for us too. Get the old purple thumb. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all. But they stood in line for hours, if not days, with mortar shells falling around them. So this is how important they think it was. We don't seem to give any importance to it, and the local elections don't get nearly as much of a turnout as the national elections do. And it should be just the opposite. These people here are local. We've got a local election coming up here in Savannah in November.
And all these people live here.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. They're going to be your neighbors, or maybe people that you're like, why are they running?
and going to be regulating your life.
Yes, and I think
make sure you make the right decision. Educate yourself about these people. Know who they are. Know who your representative is, and get the job done.
Yeah, and I think that we also need to talk about why being an American is special. I think that we've lost that, and being an American is special. We have a lot of rights and things in our country that are not allowed anywhere else. So we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks and months. But talk about why being an American is special, and tell us why you think it is.
Yeah, because we can go out and celebrate like we did the Scottish Games over the weekend. As we wrap it up today, where we see the parade of tartans as they were marching by and showing off their clan heritage as well as their tartans. And it was a very impressive ceremony. Hope to see you there next year. It's already set up. First Saturday, we should say, in May.
Yes.
So it's going to be Star Wars Day next year. May the 4th be with you. So
we'll see.
first clan is our honored clan, Clan McLeod, USA. Clan Bell, North America. And now the ones who did battle. Who is it? Clan Campbell. Clan Campbell, by the way, the ones who did battle with the McDonald's at Glencoe. Clan Carruthers. Clan Cahoon. Clan Donald. Clan Donacade. Clan Douglas. Clan Elliott. Clan Ferguson. Clan Fraser Society of North America. House of Gordon. And those who battled my own Clan Keith, but we've been friends for a long time. Clan Gunn. Clan Irwin. Clan Kennedy. Clan McEwen. Clan McCallum and Malcolm Society. Clan McFarland. International Clan of McFarland Society. Clan McIntosh. Clan McRae. My very own Clan McLean. Clan Matheson. Clan Morrison. Clan Monroe. Clan Murray. Clan Ross. Clan Sutherland.
Hey! Yeah!
Clan Wallace. Yay! What's up about William Wallace? Yeah. Clan Blaine. All right, partner. And at the end, we have our reenactors from Fort King George.